All right, in this video we're going to take a look at factoring trinomials in the form x squared plus bx plus c. So when factoring trinomials in the form x squared plus bx plus c, we're looking to find two numbers that multiply to make this last term and add to make this middle value of b. So we can then write them in the form x plus one of the numbers and x plus or times x plus another one of the numbers, where the product of the two numbers is the value of c, our original expression's constant without an x, and the sum of those two numbers is b, the number that's in front of x, the coefficient of x. So example 2, factor each of the following completely. We have x squared plus 15x plus 36. So we want to find two numbers where if we multiply them we get 36, but if we add them we get 15. So if we think about it for a little bit, the numbers we're going to get are 3 and 12. 3 times 12 is 36. 3 plus 12 is 15. And so because the numbers are positive 3 and positive 12, we can factor x squared plus 15x plus 36 as x plus 3 times x plus 12. And we can always check to make sure we're right by multiplying it out and seeing if we get back to our original expression. So x times x gives us x squared. 12 times x is 12x, 3 times x is 3x, and 12x plus 3x gives us 15x, and then 3 times 12 is 36, so we know that we factored this correctly. So from a visual approach, what's happening is if we draw out a square where our upper left little part of the square here, we'll put the x squared. We want to find two expressions that multiply to make x squared, which are x times x. And then our number without an x, the constant, this 36, we'll put in the bottom right. We want to find two numbers that multiply together to make 36, 3 and 12. And then we want to make sure that this 3 times x will give us 3x. This x times 12 will give us 12x. We also want to make sure that these two terms along this diagonal combine or add up to make this 15x that's in the middle. So we have x plus 3 and then x plus 12. All right, part B, we have x squared minus 9x plus 14. So we need the product of the two numbers to be 14, and we need the sum of those two numbers to be negative 9. So if we think about, if we're adding two numbers and getting a negative, and we're multiplying the two numbers and getting a positive, that means both of the numbers have to be negative, because a negative plus a negative is negative, and a negative times a negative is positive. So they're both going to be minuses, but we need to find two numbers we can multiply to make 14 that combine to make the negative 9, and negative 7 and negative 2 fit that description. So copying those down, we get x minus 7 times x minus 2. And once again, if we multiply this out, we can check to make sure that our answer is right. We'll get x squared minus 2x minus 7x is minus 9x, and then negative 7 times negative 2 is positive 14. Part C, we have x squared plus 5x minus 6. So this time we need the product of the two numbers to be negative 6 and the sum to be 5. So if we multiply two numbers together and end up with a negative, that means one of them has to be a negative number, the other has to be a positive. When we add those two numbers together, in other words, since one of them's negative and one of them's positive, their difference is going to be 5. So the two numbers that fit the description are negative 1 and 6. Negative 1 times 6 is negative 6. Negative 1 plus 6 is 5. So x minus 1 times x plus 6. Note that we could also have said x plus 6 times x minus 1. It doesn't matter what order we multiply the parentheses here. So we don't. If you put x plus 6 times x minus 1, you're fine. You're still right. All right, part D, we have x squared minus 7x minus 8. And the product of the two numbers has to be negative 8. The sum of the two numbers has to be negative 7. So our numbers are negative 8 and 1. And we can write this out as x minus 8 times x plus 1 as x squared minus 7x minus 8 in its factored form. All right, so that about does it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.